Where is Poppy Playtime Chapter 5? Where is the ARG and where are the teasers? These are all questions every Poppy Playtime fan has been asking recently, and I'm here to say, let them cook. Chapter 4 was so obviously rushed that it resulted in a very disappointing launch experience. So with Chapter 5 we can assume they are taking their time, which is a good thing. Chapter 4 was a roughly 3 to 6 hour chapter depending on how you played it, so Chapter 5 will probably be 6 to 8 or something like that. I think Chapter 5 is going to be the last one, so they're taking their time wrapping up the story. There is still a lot to be told. We have unanswered questions and character arcs that need closing. That being said, there has been a ton of leaked trademarks, very small teasers, and even artwork that hints to Chapter 5. So let's take a look at everything we have so far and see what it all means. First, let's go over some of the leaks for the chapter because there are potentially a lot. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about every single one, but I want to mention a few that I think are the most important. The most obvious is the prototype. The name is trademarked, meaning they will be making plushies and merch to sell for the character. He will 100% be seen in the chapter. I am so curious on how they will do his reveal. The moment is going to be massive. We've only been waiting 5 chapters for it. Now, before I mention the next few trademarks, I want to talk about the restricted Omni Tool tape mob released a few months ago. This was kind of random, but it teased a new experiment number. The beginning text reads, "Tape contains unexpected footage tampered with by third party, destroy tape." There is also Russian text saying, "Do not continue watching this tape." It's been hinted at before that Playtime Co has ties to Russia and or another factory there, so that's why we're seeing Russian text. The tape shows how the Omni Hand works, how it allows access to high clearance areas and equipment, but then it cuts to the doctor's POV, meaning he was the one that tampered with the original tape. The doctor then uses the Omni chip for remote access to unlock the door that releases Yarnaby on presumably the player. The tape ends with text reading, "Remember, if anyone asks, this Omni Hand doesn't exist. You never saw this." However, you also notice the sticky note that reads, "Keep an eye on 1007, 1172, and 1322. 1. New experiment. 1007 is one number away from the prototype, meaning this experiment likely possesses similarities to him, that being extremely smart. Or 1007 could be completely different considering they did not want to create anything similar to the prototype. He was essentially the last of his kind. 1172 is presumably Kissy Missy, but this has yet to be confirmed. It's only 2 numbers from Huggy Wuggy, so this is likely her. Harley is keeping an eye on Kissy because she's been helping Poppy and the player. 1322, as we know, is Doughy the Dough Man. Now, I bring this tape up because it teases that Experiment 1007 will be a new character in Chapter 5, and that the Omni Hand is going to play a big role in the chapter as well. But this tape felt weird to me. They released it around the time Chapter 4 came to console, but also added the new experiment to make it relevant for Chapter 5. I like the idea, but for some reason it just felt weird. It's cool nonetheless. Now, let's talk about the other leaked character names that I think are going to be in Chapter 5. The first is Chum Chompkins. Chum is often associated with being food for fish, and Chompkins sounds a lot like a shark to me. However, we already have a shark character, so I think it'll just be another aquatic animal. The second name is Giblet. This will likely be an original character design considering its name is not related to any animal or thing. It's just Giblet, so there's not much to say about it unfortunately. The third character is Lily Lovebraids. This will obviously be a character with braided hair. This hair will likely be their main feature. I could see this being pretty creative. Maybe their hair will stretch like Rapunzel. It's the same idea as Mommy Longlegs and her stretchiness, but instead it'll be hair. The last is Glowby. I'm assuming this character will always be glowing, which will be kind of cool. Imagine a giant toy that will glow in the dark. Honestly, this could be pretty creepy if you think about it. Furthermore, in this art of Huggy Wuggy for the Hour of Joy, people pointed out this thing here. This could be teasing what Glowby looks like, considering this is a star and stars glow. I just wanted to point that out. I think one of these characters is Experiment 1007. It's too early to say which, but one of them has to be. There are a bunch of other trademark leaks of even more characters and group names, but I don't think any of these will be in Chapter 5. I think, and I'm hoping, these are all for the new game Poppy Play Park. Just imagine if all of these characters were in Chapter 5. That would be way too much. Next, I want to talk about something very important. this amazing artwork that Mob Entertainment recently posted on their Twitter. By the way, if you use Twitter, feel free to give me a follow. This art was made by Amber. It's amazing as always, and it says a lot. First of all, this is referencing the famous artwork, The Creation of Adam, or Creation of Man, whichever you want to call it. It's the biblical moment when God gives life to Adam, the first man. If you're a religious person, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure everyone has seen this photo, so you can probably see the similarities here. The prototype is reaching out to the toys. So let's unpack what this means. The prototype is considered a god by Catnap and some of the other toys that took to the prototype's side during the Hour of Joy. Chapter 3 is filled with religious tones to prove this. That religious theme is part of what makes Chapter 3 so dark. So they might be going back to it for Chapter 5, and I hope they do. Chapter 3 is by far the best chapter. But let's take a even closer look. It's heavily implied that the prototype is Elliot Ludwig, Poppy's father. Elliot created Playtime Co. He started the first experiment that created Poppy. Harley Sawyer continued the experiments, but Elliot started it. He created them. He created everything. Elliot Ludwig is, in a way, the god of Playtime Co. He created it all. So this artwork is depicting the same theme of the creation of Adam. Elliot Ludwig, the prototype, is reaching out, giving life to the experiments with the help of the poppy flower. That is the theme of this artwork. So hopefully this will be a theme in Chapter 5, the god facing his creations in the final chapter. Remember, the prototype doesn't want to kill them, he just wants to stop the experiments. But he will end anyone that tries to stop what he's doing. You might have also noticed a human hand in the middle of all the experiments. This could be representing the player. Elliot, Playtime Co. even gave life, rather meaning, to us. We have returned to the factory to help the remaining experiments. That is our purpose, meaning he is even our god. The big question is, will we the player bring down the creator of everything, or will we succumb to his prophecy? This brings us to what I want to talk about next. What will happen in Chapter 5? Well, obviously it's going to pick up right where Chapter 4 left off. We will venture into the main labs. Just like in Chapter 1, Huggy will likely stalk us or even chase us as we make our way in, and we will finally meet the prototype. That's a super basic overview, but we don't really have any details about it yet. That being said, I don't think we will have a happy ending. I think Poppy is going to get her way, and Playtime Co. is going to be destroyed. Everyone, all the experiments, and even us the player is going to die. This will also help Elliot as he will have ended what he started. It's kind of confusing, but there are two things going on. Poppy wants to stop everything by killing everyone, while the prototype just wants to stop Playtime Co. from ever hurting kids again. He will kill anyone that tries to stop him. It's a moral dilemma. That was one of the themes of Chapter 4, but they didn't do a good job of presenting it because of how rushed it was. Now, there are still a few unanswered questions I have. First, we need to know if Elliot is in fact the prototype. The prototype also has supposedly still alive orphans in the labs. Remember, he was keeping Harley alive to help with a secret of theirs. It's assumed that this secret was immortality. Prototype is trying to save the orphans. However, I really don't think Mob is going to show us alive humans in the game. It would probably make things feel weird considering we have never seen any throughout any chapter. It's only ever been toys and dead bodies. But maybe that's what will make Chapter 5 so different. Maybe we will see still alive orphans. So who knows, but I had to point out both possibilities. We also need to know what happened to Huggy, Poppy, and Kissy. It's theorized that Huggy will eventually help us and change sides. This is a very strong possibility considering this comment from one of the game's creators. In Star Wars, Darth Vader eventually turns good. Regardless, I just want the chapter to be cohesive. Give us a central theme, develop more of and conclude this relationship with Poppy and the prototype, and give us a satisfying ending. What do you guys want to see in Chapter 5? Let me know your thoughts about everything in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. If you want to support me more and see some behind the scenes stuff of the videos I make, you can become a member. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.